Alright, part 2 of the hexagonal layered honeycomb. Inside each hexagonal shape, I want you to repeat it. So go from corner to corner, but don't touch the corner, but close to it. You're going to repeat the hexagonal shape inside of itself. So there's a skinny border. So you can see how skinny it is. It's not real fat. And do that in each one. So again, go from corner to corner to corner without touching the sides, but echo the shape. Repeat the shape inside of itself. You're making a concentric shape. So you're going to do this in all of the hexagonal. A hexagon is six-sided. So hexagonal shapes are like hexagons. They have six sides. And you're going to repeat that hexagonal shape or the hexagon inside of itself. So there is a concentric shape inside of it. So anytime you repeat a shape inside of itself, it is concentric. So you're going to do that in each of your hexagons. You don't want this to get fat, and you don't want this to ignore your angles, because each angle should be repeated. So you can see I repeat this angle, I repeat this angle. So don't just make a circle or a random shape in there. Repeat that hexagon with a skinny border. We're going to do this to all of them. So I'm going to hit it pause. Boing. So there. I have repeated the shape inside of itself, skinny border for all of them. You should hit pause and do that too. So the next step in each shape is to find the center of it. You don't have to put a dot where the center of it is, but look at where the center is. And then you're going to draw a line straight up to the angle at the top. Straight up to the angle at the top. Then you're going to go not to the bottom. Don't go to the bottom. Instead, not to the top left, but to the bottom left corner. Then you're going to go to the bottom right corner. So you don't go to the bottom. So it should split like that. So again, you go to the center, draw a line straight up into the corner. So they got to go into the corners or this won't work. So the next corner you do is right here, right there. See, I drew a little dot. That's the next corner we're going to draw to. Don't draw to the very bottom. So don't draw to the bottom, but instead go off to the side. Not to the top right, but to the bottom right. Not to the very bottom. So I go to the center. So you find the center with your eyeball. You don't have to draw a dot. And then you draw straight up and make sure it goes right into the vertex of the angle. Then don't go to the bottom. So this, I'm going to do some no-nos. This is a no-no. Ooh, get a better eraser someday, huh? All right, that would be a no-no because I'm not going to an angle. This doesn't go to an angle at all. That's just bisecting a line. And I don't want to bisect a line. I want to go into an angle. So I don't want to go to these top angles. Instead, I want to angle down to a corner, not to the very bottom corner. So center to the very top, not to the bottom, but to the two outer ones, here and here. Okay, I'm going to do one more in the next row for you. In the middle, we're going to go straight up into an angle. So you can see I go straight up into the angle. See how it goes into an angle? It doesn't, this would be wrong. See this pencil line? I'm going to erase that pencil line, but that's not going into an angle. That's no good. Don't do that. So now, don't draw straight to the bottom. Instead, draw off to this angle. Center up, and then to the sides. All right, so kind of a Mercedes symbol, but it's important that you go to the right angles because you can already see how this links up and creates another hexagon underneath it. So I'm going to do one more. I lied before and said I would do one more, but I'm going to do one more. Center, up. Then from the center, draw out to the left corner, then the right corner, but not the top ones, not the very bottom, but here and here. And then that creates another hexagon underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that while I hit pause. Boing! Magic. Okay. So I have a Mercedes symbol in each one. And then for each square, what I'm going to do, for each cube, or inside of each one of these shapes, I'm going to echo along those lines I just did. And I'm going to repeat them on all three sides. So this is the line I just created, this Mercedes symbol. And now I'm going to repeat it on this side, on the bottom, and then on the left. So this is the Mercedes symbol I just did. I'm going to repeat it on the bottom, on the right, and on the left. So for each one, I'm going to, here's the Mercedes symbol that I just did. I'm going to do it on the left. I'm going to repeat it on the bottom. So super skinny. Don't want this to be fat. And I don't want to cross a line. I want to draw alongside, just like this, on the right and on the left. So find the Mercedes symbol. So you repeat it on the bottom. So I just repeated it on the bottom. Then you repeat it on the right. And then you repeat it on the left. So each one is going to look like this. So I'm going to do one more. Repeat it on the bottom, repeat it on the right, and repeat it on the left. So go to the next Mercedes symbol. Repeat it on the bottom, repeat it on the right, repeat it on the left. So I'm going to hit pause while I finish doubling each side of my Mercedes symbol. The right, the bottom, and the left of each Mercedes symbol. All right, gonna hit pause. Okay, magic, just doing my last two. All right, now comes the shading part. Each one of the underneath the doubled up Mercedes symbol that you did just now gets shaded dark with a pencil, because it goes underneath. So each Mercedes symbol that we just doubled up gets shaded darker, so it sinks down under the first ones that we did. And then they will fall back and appear to be going, here's the white one, and the darker ones should look like they're going under. All right, so each one will be dark like that. I'm going to hit pause. All right, I am done shading the Mercedes symbol that goes under. And notice I didn't shade on these lines or shapes, the first shapes I drew. So I only drew the bits of the Mercedes that show up. Now, one can say that underneath we know these would connect. The shaded bits would connect, but we don't see it because the first shapes that we drew cover it up. Now, the last step is to lightly, so I'm going to hold the pencil like I could easily pull it out of my hand. Lightly draw lines that go from side to side across the Mercedes symbol. Do it lightly, just super light. Draw lines that go across, not on here, not on the ones that go in front. So I go across super light. You might not even be able to see it until I pull them up. So see these super light lines that are going across? That's just going to help show that there's a background there. And they're just lines going across the boxes, super light. Just go lightly across the page like you're drawing on a baby's face. Now when you do the shading here, you would press harder than you would if you were drawing on a baby's face. Baby would probably cry, stop drawing on my face. But these, you would go so light that the baby would be like, hee, you're tickling me. So draw these lines lightly going across, and you want to keep going across so it's consistent, because the background is in the background and it's consistently going across this texture. In pencil, lightly. And you can go right through the heavy shading that you just did. So this should be heavy shading, and these should be very light pencil lines going across. Notice they are not on top of the first shapes that I drew, because those are on top and they're going to just be lighter so they pop out in front. And these go in the background, super light, going across. You can go right over the heavy shading you just did. Each honeycomb shape, we need the background to be finished in all of them. So I'm going to put it on pause and finish doing those horizontal lines that go across the Mercedes. Oh, almost done. So I have to remind you to put these lines close together, super close together, so that from a distance it almost looks like shading or light shading. So put them super close together. And notice they're not on the top honeycomb because they're background, and they're going to go look like they're back there. So here is our honeycomb layered texture. Again, you can see about the size, right? So if it's like way too big, then you need to practice making it smaller and get familiar with it and get good at it with practice.